Peace and love, wonderful Black Hot Fire family. Welcome to the 54 Corresponding Show on the Black Hot Fire Network. This is a show we get to engage and, of course, get to learn on what is happening all over the continent of Africa. Now, of course, we get to delve into matters of social economics, politics, as well as other different matters such as environment as well. And, of course, we are an all-around show. Just getting to update you on what is happening on the beautiful continent of Africa, which we also call the motherland. And of course, originally it went by the name Al-Kebulan. If you're wondering where Al-Kebulan is, you are, of course, in the rightful place to know. This is the original place for the continent of Africa. And of course, before colonization, we did have many different places being known under different names. But right now, as we speak, we have even places that are called even by the names of the Queen, which is actually crazy, such as the Victoria Falls. But nonetheless, we do hope that you are doing fantastic. I trust that you are doing well. Today being on the 22nd of September, the year 2020, we just have a week left in this particular month. And that's a wrap. And of course, we are looking forward even onto global matters. We do, of course, also shed spotlight on what is happening globally. And what happens to be going on is, of course, there is now the countdown to the USA elections expected to take place in November. But right now, as we speak, we have less than 45 days, to go to the election. And of course, there is a little bit of, spotlight being cast on that. Not actually a little bit, a lot of a spotlight. We're going to see what will happen because there are lots of things that are dependent on what happens with these particular elections, even on the continent. Many African countries, we realize that there are African countries that depend on the dollars. For example, when you're conducting trade between, for example, Kenya and South Africa, let me just use the example of South Africa. You get to realize what happens is that payment will actually be made in American dollars. The problem is the people in South Africa do not really want to get the Kenyan shillings, and the people in Kenya do not want to get the South African money. So the standard, even used for even African countries, is really the American dollar. And of course, some countries have started making a gradual shift, moving from the American dollars. Others want now to start using Chinese yuan. I understand that some countries are now starting to save their foreign reserves in a Chinese yuan as opposed to having them in the American dollars. But that's a story for another day. To start us off today, since I mentioned about the matter of economics, I just want to talk about a little bit about the currencies of Africa. Now, of course, if you did not know, we do have different names for different currencies used in different countries. For example, we have the Ethiopian birr. We have the Ethiopian birr. If you're just wondering what the people of Ethiopia do call their currency, they call it the Ethiopian birr. And I believe the Ethiopian birr is really not one of the high-ranking currencies, because they are powerful currencies on the continent of Africa. And I will tell you one thing for sure, that the Ethiopian birr is not the one. But nonetheless, we also do have the Nigerian naira. The Nigerian naira. Nigeria happens to be Africa's largest economy in terms of the numbers and the volume of trade. That also happens because they do have the highest population on the continent of Africa. So it's not a coincidence. And of course, we also do have the South African rand, which is also another strong currency right here on the continent of Africa. And also we have the Kenyan shillings. In East Africa, most East African countries get to use shillings. For example, Kenyan shillings, Tanzanian shillings, Ugandan shillings, and those are the three East African countries that do get to use shillings. So when you go to Rwanda, the Rwandese people normally use the francs. The Rwandese people normally get to use the francs. And of course, we also do have the Ghanaian, the Ghanaian cedi. The Ghanaian cedi, which is the currency used by the people of Ghana. And of course, Ghana is also considered to be relatively stable and a good economy. If you come to think about the GDP and other measures of, among other measures of success. We also do have in Liberia, we do have the Liberian dollar. In Liberia, we do have the Liberian dollar. In Malawi, we do have the Malawi kwacha. Same happens with Zambia. We do have the Zambian kwacha. And of course, when you go to Libya, we have the Libyan dinar. The Libyan dinar. Namibia also does have their own dollar. It's called the Namibian dollar. And of course, if you're going to go to Rwanda, like I said, it's a Rwandese franc, and Somali uses shillings as well. So it's a Somali shillings. And of course, if you go to Tanzania, it's the same thing. In Tunisia, it's the dinar. In Tunisia, that happens to be the dinar. Now, of course, one of the things that you get to ask yourselves, why is it important that we have a unified currency across the continent of Africa? It would make things much more easier for people to be able to trade, with a similar currency, just that like we have the euro in Europe. But nonetheless, you find that with all these different kinds of currencies, without even using a single currency, you find that, there is a lot of a challenge, and it contributes. It's an obstacle when it comes to trade. But nonetheless, I have seen the effort by different West African states, which is the ECOWAS. We have the ECOWAS, which is a trade bloc in West Africa, putting their minds together just to sort of come up with one particular currency, which is the ECO. They were actually deciding to call it the ECO, but plans to come up with that have actually stalled for a while. But nonetheless, we do have other different blocks, such as the East Africa Trade Bloc, which is actually called what do you call these? We do have also the East African Community Trade Bloc, as well as the SADC. The SADC is a South African trade bloc. But of course, these are also in talks. These are also in talks to see how to be able to, come up with one single currency. And that would be actually a good thing, because we will be able to trade more as the African people amongst ourselves, as opposed to using a foreign currency as the middle, or as the middle ground for us being able to conduct trade. Nonetheless, I want to speak about one particular country, which is Ghana. And of course, Ghana, there is different things to go see in Ghana. And I just want to share with us some of the tourist attractions that are very, very much popular in Ghana. In case you're thinking about perhaps going and getting to see what's good in Ghana, I believe there are some of the top spots that you need to check out. And I want to share with you some of the places to go and see if you are to go make a tour in Ghana yourself. And this is the presentation of the same. From this whole list of places you can actually visit in Ghana, you realize that you can really never run out of places to go visit in Ghana. There are actually so many interesting places. Some of them are actually fauna and flora sanctuaries. And of course, you can get to see the most of the wildlife you would love to enjoy out there in these particular places that are tourist destinations, as well as just places that are even good for people to just go out even on the weekends. That is a little bit of the presentation right there about some of the places that you would love to actually check out. Of course, these has to be one of the places that you should purpose to add onto your list of places that you would actually perhaps go and check out. And now, of course, not just that, there is also another, of course, a few other different places that have been left out. Let me just share with you this real quick. And you can see what's good in Ghana. And of course, there was a plan last year, which was, of course, the year of return. That was in 2019. Haven't checked to see how that is going so far. But nonetheless, this is Ghana.
10 best places to visit in Ghana. Hello, Explorers. Welcome to another exciting video presented to you by The Explorer. In this video, we shall be taking you to West Africa to show you the 10 best places to visit in Ghana. The Republic of Ghana is a country located along the Gulf of Guinea and the Atlantic Ocean in the sub-region of West Africa. Spanning a landmass of 238,535 kilometers square, Ghana is bordered by the Ivory Coast in the west, Burkina Faso in the north, Togo in the east, and the Gulf of Guinea and Atlantic Ocean in the south. Ghana's population of approximately 30 million spans a variety of ethnic, linguistic, and religious groups. Its diverse geography and ecology ranges from coastal savannas to tropical rainforests. Millions of tourists visit Ghana every year from countries like South America, Asia, Europe, and North.
Good grammar and spelling are important, but if you want to write essays that inspire,
and North America. The attractions and major tourist destinations of Ghana include a warm tropical climate year-round, sandy beaches, lakes, caves, rivers, reservoirs, diverse wildlife, and waterfalls. We made a video on the top 10 things you didn't know about Ghana. Click on the card on the screen if you haven't watched it yet to know more about Ghana. If you are new here, welcome. Be sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss any of our videos. Forbes magazine once called Ghana the 11th friendliest country in the world, based on a survey of cross-section of travelers and of all the African countries that were included in the survey. Ghana ranked highest, and Ghana is also one of the most peaceful countries in Africa. Tourism is the fourth highest earner of foreign exchange for the country. The reason why so many tourists visit Ghana is not only to say hi to the country's friendly people, but also to visit some of the exotic touristic sites available in Ghana. Of the numerous sites, some do stand out, and hence in no particular order, here are the 10 best places to visit in Ghana. Number 10. Lake Bosumtwe. The only natural lake in Ashanti and Ghana, Lake Bosumtwe, was formed when a large meteorite had hit this place a long while ago. The lake is considered sacred by the Ashanti people, who believe that people's spirits come here after death so that they can say goodbye to the god Twi. Other than being a pilgrimage site, Lake Bosumtwe is a great spot for adventure. Almost 90 meters deep, the lake makes an excellent destination for relaxation, hiking, trekking, picnicking, horseback riding, biking, and indulging in water sports. Number 9. Labadi Beach. Often called the perfect city beach by tourists and locals alike, Labadi is the most popular shoreline in Accra, Ghana. It is the best beach in Accra, Ghana, and a much secured natural beach. Other than basking under the sun and lazing on the sands, one can enjoy the awesome food and cocktails available at the many local eateries here. Since the beach is essentially a property of the neighboring hotels, one needs to pay a small entrance fee for getting in. If you visit on weekends, you'll surely be able to catch some local entertainment like native drumming, local reggae bands, dancing, and music. It is one of the best places to visit in Ghana, to witness the local Ghanaian culture blend with hip-hop and other Western styles of dance and music. Number 8. Cocobrite Beach. Ghana's most popular beaches are located around Cocobrite, home of the particularly beautiful Langma Beach. Cocobrite is a quick 32 kilometers ride away from the capital, Accra. Here, the beachfront hotel Big Millie's Backyard offers laid-back accommodations. Big Millie's has a resorts which provide a beautiful view of the beach. The Homomo Festival, held in the month of May, is also a popular time when tourists flock to this beach destination. Number 7. St. George's. Lake Volta. This is the largest man-made lake that is present in this world. The location is really beautiful and a must visit when someone comes to Ghana. The lake contains behind the Akosombo Dam, which generates a substantial amount of Ghana's electricity. It also covers 3.6% of the land present in Ghana. It is completely within Ghana with a surface area of 8,502 kilometers square. While visiting the lake, you can visit the Dodi Island as well. People have the option to fish in some parts of the lake or actually go on a trip to the dam. Exotic and luxurious hotels have been constructed nearby the lake to house the tourists who are interested in spending quality time by the natural recluse. Number 5. Kumasi. The former capital of Ghana's Ashanti Kingdom, Kumasi, is located in southern central Ghana. It is the country's second largest city with a population of over 2 million people. The Ashanti are famous artisans specializing in gold jewelry and trinkets, kente cloth, and carved wooden stools. Samples are displayed at the Kumasi Cultural Center and at craft villages on the outskirts of Kumasi. The bustling Kejetia market is chaotic, but well worth a visit. To see how the Ashanti kings used to live, also visit the Manhia Palace Museum. If you time it right, you can meet the current Ashanti king as he makes his appearance every 42 days. So, people who love to shop will enjoy this place because of the different locations and shops of craft present in the city. Number 4. Mole National Park. The Mole National Park is a great place to visit located in the northwest part of Ghana and is the largest wildlife park in Ghana. Tourists can see several different types of animals, including roan antelope, buffalo, elephants, hyenas, leopards, and so on. They may also spot lions from time to time. The park is home to more than 250 species of birds, which is great for bird enthusiasts. If you can, try to visit the park during the dry season, which lasts from January to March, to catch most of the animals as they come to drink water. For every reason, it is counted amongst the best places to visit in Ghana. Number 3. Kakum National Park. Ghana is a biodiversity place which has some unique species of plants and animals, and certainly one of the most beautiful regions in Ghana. Kakum National Park is a place that one needs to go for visiting the rainforest of Ghana. It is stretched over an extensive part of southern Ghana. One can see buffaloes, meerkats, civets, elephants, and several species of birds when they are at this place. The canopy walkway is a key part of the national park and pulls a lot of tourists. People should definitely take guided tours to have a complete idea of the place. Number 2. Accra. This is the capital of the country.
Seems to be so many adverts on these, nonetheless.
And one of the most happening, modern, and the best cities in Ghana. The city consists of 2 million residents, so you would definitely feel the lively nature of it. Accra has bustling markets along with the heritage buildings of the colonial times. We are sure that you will have a nice time in the city exploring Jamestown and other monuments that are important to it. In Accra, one needs to visit the Makola Market and the National Museum, both of which are important to the art and culture of the city. One should also visit the beaches, including the Labadi and the Cocoa Beach. Apart from these, there are many other places to visit in Accra. Number 1. Paga Crocodile Pond. Most of us do not know much about crocodiles as they either scare us or we do not want to meet them. But this sanctuary is made for hosting the crocodiles, and the enthusiasts can see many of them over here. The crocodiles residing over here are actually very...
And I'm not really sure how many people do love to go and see some crocodiles in that particular country. But nonetheless, I got to realize the other day that there are so many types of crocodiles. It's not just one kind of a crocodile. I think there are different species of crocodiles as well as alligators. And I was seeing some of them, they actually they differ in their structures or the way their body is formed. They actually differ in that. But nonetheless, if you do purpose to come to Africa, I believe some of the places that you would love to go check out include, of course, Accra. And Accra, like you heard, is the capital city of Ghana. And it's a place that has even a national museum in it, in the city. And we also do have in Nairobi, if you to ever tour Africa, and perhaps you would like to come check out Nairobi or Kenya, we also do have a park inside the city. You know, there's not many places that you will go in the world where you shall find, a national park inside the city. It's very, very difficult for you to be able to spot some of such pleasantries, in the world. But nonetheless, Africa does have that privilege. People talk about Africa being the dark continent and also talk about Africa being a jungle. But nonetheless, I think that there has been a peaceful coexistence between people and the animals. And of course, because of the increase in population right now, we're hearing about the situation changing. You might hear about places where there have been the human-wildlife conflict and people trying to attack the animals in parks, or people trying to attack the animals that are also trying to encroach on in their homes. But nonetheless, I do want to remind you that this is a Black Hot Fire Network 54 correspondent show. If you would love to check us out on our social media, kindly feel free to follow us on Instagram. We are Black Hot Fire Network on Instagram. We are also on Twitter, Black Hot Fire, as well as on Facebook, Black Hot Fire Network Radio Station. Of course, I also want to implore us to head over to the network website. It's www.blackhotfirenetwork.com. And of course, you can create a profile right there on the network website. It's interactive, and it's a good thing that you get to engage each other also on the network website, and to be able to keep on learning from one another regarding some of the different issues that are happening right now. But nonetheless, I just want to go on the issue of Mali, which is our topic for today. And the ex-defense minister in Mali has actually been labeled, has been appointed as the interim president because we did have a a political crisis, because that is what it is. We did have a political crisis in Mali from the 18th of August, when we did have a military coup in this particular country. And of course, there was someone else who has also been appointed. The coup leader, Colonel Assimi, will serve as the deputy, according to the state televised announcement that was made yesterday. And now, of course, I do think this is a maneuver kind of a move, because if he was an ex-defense minister, then he has a military background. He has a military background, and of course, they have chosen him to sort of make the people believe that there is some form of fairness. But I don't believe these to be a fair move. But nonetheless, the Mali junta has been under intense pressure from West African leaders to return the power to the civilians following the coup they did orchestrate on the 18th of August, that is last month. Now, of course, that is when they did overthrow the former president, who was actually known as Ibrahim Boubacar Keïta. And of course, as we speak, the president did suffer a stroke. And now, of course, right now he is in hospital. He was actually flown out of the country, and he is receiving treatment abroad. And now, of course, this particular president has been named, the interim president has been named, of course, served as a colonel general. He served as a colonel general, and now, of course, he also was the defense minister for the former president, Boubacar Keïta. Ibrahim Boubacar Keïta. And of course, right now, as you speak, the West African leaders, led by the ECOWAS, have been talking about having an appointment of a new civilian president. And of course, right now, as you speak, there has been some turnaround. There has been some turnaround, and people are seen to be seeing some change, or some hope. There is actually some hope. But nonetheless, let me share with us what the people actually had to say. I think I might put my face on actually on the webcam. But nonetheless, I don't mind that. Let me share with us what the people had to say in regards to this particular matter on the appointment of a new interim president, who was the ex-defense minister in this particular country, West African nation of Mali. Let me share with you some of the televised address.
Head of the National Committee for the Salvation of the People, Colonel Assimi Goïta, issued a nationally televised announcement pronouncing Ba Ndao previously the Minister of Defense, as the Malian transitional president, appointed by a committee set up by the junta, in power since the putsch on August 18th. Goita has been designated transitional vice president, with the ceremony swearing in both officials scheduled for Friday, September 25th.
That was a reporter from Mali, and what is happening right there is the announcement of a new interim president, and this particular president will be faced by a very, very difficult task, because he might not be there for a very, very long time. He might actually just serve the country for maybe a few months before they do get to organize a national election, because what the demands for the ECOWAS were, and of course I also believe what the people of Mali do want to have, is that they simply want to have a transitional government that will be able to conduct, a transitional government that will be able to organize and facilitate a smooth and a fair election in this particular country. But as we all know, West African nations have not been known to have smooth transitions. That is one of the biggest problems in West Africa. There has been a long culture of coups. One particular leader gets to overthrow another, and of course, after the overthrowing, especially using military forces, and then after a while, they are also deposed and are removed from power by another, perhaps military coup. And this has been a long history of for the nations of West Africa, most of whom were colonized by the French. And sometimes I also do get to think, in my personal opinion, that the French also have hands to do with this, because they want to destabilize these particular places, perhaps, and also continue to to extort or to get the resources they have been getting from these West African nations, while they are actually unstable. Because when a country is not stable, it's very, very much easy for people to come in, especially for external forces to come and loot as much resources as they would like to loot from this particular country. The same thing is happening with Libya. In Libya, we are seeing a situation where there has been confusion and chaos. And now, of course, as we're speaking, these has also affected the economy largely, because some of the areas where we do have the oil production, and some of these places, there has been a blockade to reaching some of these particular places. And of course, General Ali Haftar have actually, now recently allowed the access into these particular places, such that the oil can actually now start moving again and being traded. And of course, we are hoping to see that these also, helps a little bit when it comes to matters of Libya, right there at the top of, the Northern African states. Nonetheless, I just want to also to highlight on some other different things that are taking place on the African continent. But of course, before I do, I wanted to share with us one of Africa's, how can I call it? One of Africa's legacy, and this has to do with traditional, making of iron ore. And this is one of the practices that was actually used in Africa. One of the ancient techniques that was used in Africa. This was how they did smelting of iron in Africa. And of course, these are 2 centuries ago. And I want to share these with you so that you can see that the art of making iron and how it was actually done in some of the places in Africa. Some of this art has been lost. There has been the modernization of everything. And some of the ancient practice, for example, smelting iron in Africa, has been lost. If you go to, for example, anywhere in the villages. Thank you, Bombi Damfa, for joining us. I hope that you are doing well. Let me know if you're still in Ethiopia. And of course, I do want to thank you so much for being part of the Black Coach Fan Network. There has been the art of iron smelting, which was practiced by the Africans. But I'm saying right now, as you speak, many people do not remember the art. Many people do not remember the skill. And now, of course, this has been lost over generations because of modernization. People have adopted different new ways of smelting iron ore. But this is how they used to do it. This is how they used to smelt iron ore in Africa.
After I published my video on 4 Vedas, Mr. Pradeep Kumar had sent 2 video links via comment space regarding smelting.
In May 2005, a group of elder men of the Bamako family of smiths in Burkina Faso gathered to smelt iron for the first time in over 60 years. These were men who had seen the process when they were young, and a few of the oldest had actually done it themselves. They were supported and organized by a much younger member of the family, Jacob Bamako, who filmed this with the help of his nephew, Abdoulaye. The smelting took place in the village of Dablo, in northern Burkina Faso, north of Kaya, and at the edge of the Sahel. Burkina Faso is a small landlocked country north of Ghana and between Mali to the northwest and Niger to the northeast. Africans have been making iron for well over 2,000 years. The manufacture of high-quality carbon steel allowed Africans to produce effective weapons for warfare and efficient tools for farming. Without iron technology, the spread of agriculture and of developed civilizations across Africa would not have been possible. By the beginning of the 20th century, when the first French colonials arrived in Burkina Faso, then called Upper Volta, they found a thriving iron smelting industry, by which tons of high-quality metal were produced every year. Within a few decades, the French began to use trucks and automobiles on the roads they forced their subjects to construct. When the first French auto smashed at a high rate of speed into a huge mahogany tree by the side of the road, the smelting industry died, for smiths could find a cheap and plentiful source of good metal. Forging continued, but smelting ended. Since the 1960s, merchants have imported large quantities of inexpensive mass-produced iron from China and Japan, and no iron has been smelted from raw ore anywhere in Africa for almost 50 years. The technology documented on this film is the first smelting of iron from ore in Burkina Faso since the 1960s.
Avec du coton. Le coton a pris feu. Vous voyez comme ça. Voilà. Et maintenant, on met ça à la direction du vent. Il doit faire son travail. Vous voyez, c'est déjà pris. Le feu est déjà prêt. Voilà. Donc, c'est le bouton. Voilà, c'est le bouton que vous voyez. Voilà. Voilà. Ça a pris feu. Et voilà.
There's actually a shorter version of the video. Let me try and get this particular one, so you can just see how the art was actually done.
Early on the first morning, Dekwaza prays and offers beer. A stone lintel set across the top of the shaft opening provides a strong base for the charge hole and the shield to be built above. On the third day, the facade and furnace shaft are given coats of daub, and the bellows platform reaches its full height. The furnace is magically strengthened by the addition of a decorated dog belt. With scarcely a pause, Dequaza and his sons go on to assemble the bellows, binding and plastering them firmly into place on the stone support. At home that afternoon, Dequaza and Baradak begin to build the tuyere, a long tube that directs the air blast from the bellows down into the belly of the furnace. The furnace is now complete, but must again be left to dry for 2 days while Dequaza rests and does other jobs. All is now ready for the smelt. At 7:10 a.m., without ceremony, Dequaza and Baradak insert the tuyere. To prevent the shaft seal from collapsing under its own weight, he supports it with split twigs of fire-resistant ebony. Then, before all those who have worked on the furnace, and those other smiths, Dequaza's relatives, who are to participate in today's efforts, Dequaza prays, offers beer, and consecrates the giglé pot that will be set to guard the smelt.
These people still had their beer for the ceremonies.
Now is the time for war. It is 3 minutes past 10. After working the bellows for a moment, and they will never cease until the smelt is over 10 hours and 21 minutes later, Dequaza hands over to his son Hishekit, descends to the lower platform and checks that the charge is well and truly lit. Satisfied that it is, he will now retire to his compound to prepare for battle. Dequaza plays the bellows like drums. Batai strikes up his harp and they sing antiphonally. This is the first time that music has been allowed near the furnace. Pasty slag now flows to block the vent and is cut out. Dusk at 6:15. The vent is now much higher. The smelt continues at full blast, but by 7:30, Dequaza's stock of ore is running low and he is tiring. He has blown the bellows longer and harder than any, and has also prized out the slag. In the old days, with more and more experienced bellowsmen, the smelt would have continued until the blue mass had filled the shaft.
This is a little bit of some of the skills, the skills that the Africans did have in terms of smelting iron ore. And of course, right now, I do believe that that has been, everything has modernized. And that particular kind of a technique for smelting iron ore is not really used. But from what I do understand, in West Africa, we did have many people whose work really was just focused on smelting iron ore, and they were using that particular kind of a craft just to make iron ore. Some of the iron smelted was used for making weapons, and I believe that is why West Africa at some point still did have a good warriors and people who could be able to defend their land simply by using these, some of the materials made from the iron ore that was melted in this region. From the video I showed you earlier, one of them was in Ouagadougou, and Ouagadougou happens to be the capital city of Burkina Faso. I do understand that he's, in the remote areas of Ouagadougou, not just in the capital city. It's in remote areas where we did have members of certain families are taking up this particular kind of a role and tasks as their responsibility, or as their tool of trade to smelt iron ore for themselves, or to smelt iron ore for other different purposes. I believe most of the time it was smelted for sale, or it was smelted for for different particular reasons, such as maybe perhaps to be used in making of weapons and such like things. But nonetheless, that is one of the things that has been lost. That is one of the practice that has been lost by the African people. But what you get to realize that every ceremony with the African people was spiritual. People will lie to you and say before the European came to Africa, there wasn't any kind of spirituality, or people were backward and things like that. But this was a science, or this was actually a science that was practiced even before the before the colonizers actually came to Africa. And what else you also get to realize that every kind of a ceremony, every kind of everything that was being done, even when people are going into farm and they wanted to start farming, or they wanted to start harvesting, or they wanted to start doing this and that, there were different rituals that were conducted, and these particular rituals were done in honor of the gods, or in honor of the gods in the different, or the deities in the different African communities. And therefore you cannot say till today that people did not have spiritual systems in Africa before the European came. And actually now what we do have is more of religion and less of spirituality in the African context because even as you can see, these particular people are making drums, and they were making dances and songs, even when they're trying to smelt their iron ore. And that is how you get to realize that in the history of the African people, they have been spiritual all along. I believe from day one, people have actually been spiritual. And of course, like I said, in every kind of an activity, whether be it herding cattle, whether be it going to hunting and gathering, whether be it farming or harvesting, whether be it any kind of an activity that was done by the African, mostly they did have some rituals to symbolize, their respect, or even, some sacrifices also done in different contexts. And of course, in different ceremonies. Some of them were the wedding ceremonies or the marriage ceremonies. And there were some spiritual, rituals done in those particular ceremonies. And right now, as we are right now, people have moved the farthest from spirituality, and there is nothing left. What you do have is, the following of a religion, and the following of religion has been done blindly. People will come up and tell you this and this happened, and you just want to get into that. And of course, I believe the decline of Africa. During the decline of Africa, that is when you did have also the introduction of religions, the Islamic religion, the Christianity religion, and all these other kinds of religions. Right now, that have caused people will not even get engaged in critical thinking. But nonetheless, we are almost winding up on our show for today. This is a 54 corresponding show. Earlier on, I was just telling you about the history of the iron ore smelting in Africa. It was mostly done in West Africa. That is where we did have people having the skills on how to smelt iron ore, and then perhaps later they use it to make different items. Some of them perhaps were just items for decorations, others were items for war. Others were weapons, among other different items that were made using the iron ore. Earlier on, I also highlighted about what is happening in West Africa, the West African nation of Mali. Right now, there has been the appointment of the former defense minister, who is going to be the interim president. And this is after a coup. There was a coup in Mali, and this led to the deposition of the former leader, Ibrahim Abubakar Keita. And right now, he's actually getting treatment. And of course, he would have been able to de-escalate the matter if at all he did agree to work with the leaders of the ECOWAS. I believe he would have been able to de-escalate the matter. It wouldn't have gotten to where we are at today, where we are hearing about, the appointment of a civilian authority, the appointment of a transitional leadership, and then after that particular appointment, there will be the conducting of elections in this particular country. Nonetheless, we shall be keeping tabs and watching to see what happens in that West African country. And of course, through the intervention of the ECOWAS, I believe things are going to move much more steadily. I just want to thank everyone that has been with us on this particular episode of the 54 Correspondents. And this is a show where we get to discuss African matters and get to update you on what is happening across the African continent. We also get some time to delve into African history, just get to learn what used to happen and when it used to happen, and perhaps how and why it happened right here as we discuss a little bit of African history. Earlier on, I also shared with you some interesting places you can visit in Ghana. And I believe the Ghanaian, Ghana as a country has a wonderful, wonderful sports that someone should actually get to check out. And of course, I will wind up at this particular episode. We'll play you a little bit more of that to see what you missed or what you might find in Ghana. Thank you so much for everyone that has been with us. Bombi Dampa, thank you so much. And everyone else that has been with us on the show. I never take your company for granted. And remember, if you would love support the network, simply feel free to do so. If you would love support the network, simply feel free to do so by heading over to the network website. It's www.blackcoatfirenetwork.com. Till next time, much peace and love. Kwaheri. I leave you with this video from Ghana and interesting places to see in the Ghana.